I don't think it's that great, because I think that people adapt. For the really old, from people who are 70, it's a big gap. I'm 50, but I still think mentally that I'm 20. Yeah, because I've not grown up yet. Okay, so it's different. I think the generation gap is the technology. Yes. So I get my phone and I get into the hotel and I say to my son, put me Wi-Fi on, you know, and things like that. So that's what I think about the generation. What do I think about society in the past is different from the current social? I think it was a bit more, really long time ago, it was very much strict, but then I think that today, the morals of younger people is greater than, say, my generation. So strict, not strict, self-strict. So parents being strict, children decided not to be strict, but children decided on themselves to be strict on themselves, their own moral, you know, guidance. But obviously influenced by technology. In person to person, people are much better morally than they are on the technology. They're a bit more loose. You know, they might say things on there that they wouldn't say in person to people. What do you think about living in the past and the present difference? There's, like I say, a lot more technology now. I think in the past it was more relaxed. In my generation, parents didn't worry so much about their children as they do now, because of 24-hour news media, they think there is a sex offender or a murderer hiding behind every tree, and that's because of the news. You know, years ago you didn't get that, and for, like in England, the abduction and murder of a child would be national news, and you can judge it by how often this happens. It doesn't, you know, once every couple of years. So I think a lot of it in the past is that people were more relaxed with what their children did. If my children did what I did, then I'd be from there. Do you think there's more conflict between generations? No, I think it's the same. I think it's the same. There is an article that I read to people in the Times of London, and the article says that society these days, the children have got no morals, society is going to be ruined, right? And they don't want to work, they don't want to get out, they just want to go out with their friends and everything like that. And there was an article in the Times of London, and I think it was 1910, year 1910. So you think back now, you think that was an article today, wouldn't you? Well, that was an article in 1910, and that generation that they actually said who didn't want to work, didn't have, a lot of them died in the trenches in the First World War. So they say, you don't want to work, you want to do that, and then they fought for their country, you know, from there. So people, I think the generation thing is the same, it just goes up, really, what the expectations are. What do you think the main reason for this conflict? I think the conflict is that parents forget that they were children. They forget that they were children, and they forget. A friend of mine, of a long, 35 years, a friend of mine, told my children what we used to do, and they were going, you know, on the big walkways over motorways and things like that, climbing on the top and waiting in the traffic and things like that. So I think that's what it is that adults forget that they were children. The adventures generation gap is, I think, that development thinking in terms of, you know, what would you do today different? You know, the thing about the generation gap is that children see the mistakes that their parents made. So, for example, you would be looking at the issues around climate change. We made those errors. You should learn from those errors. The only problem is that governments don't seem to learn from those errors. But I think the generation gap is that it's important for you to look back and say, well, we don't need to do that, and just checking the errors that we made. You know, we've done some good things, but we've done things that are not so good. But you need to judge people. For the younger generation, they need to judge the older generation by what the standards were then, not the standards now. You know, because you say, you know, you never recycled all those things years ago. You should have been doing that. But nobody thought of that then. If the older generation weren't recycling now, then you'd be going, this is wrong, this is what you need to do. But you can't judge them by what the standard was 30 years ago. Okay? And I'm Robert, and I'm from the UK. And where are you from? Where? Yes, where? Bangkok?
Yeah.
Bangkok. At university or school or? University. And what are you studying?
I study
Business?
business.
Business? And your age?
Yeah.
How old? Your age? 50?
I'm 19.
19? 19. He's my son.